The final standard we have is on rounding. In third grade, students learn to round 2 and 3-digit numbers, and in fourth grade, they need to learn how to round numbers up to the hundred thousands place and round them to any place, to the tens, hundreds, or whatever. This is important. Another word that they need to know is estimate. So they are rounding to estimate a solution to a problem. And we will tie this back to real life when you don't need an exact answer, but an estimate. A lot of times I will use the grocery store and I will tell them, if I bring $100 cash, that I've done money things before where I've said, okay, I'm going to spend $100 at the grocery store, and I don't want to be embarrassed and have gone over that amount. So as I'm going through the store, I'm rounding each item as I'm putting it in and making it an easy number to add mentally in my head. But helping students to relate, when would we need to estimate? When we don't always need an exact answer. So when are those times? So definitely connecting rounding to real life. Now, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. A lot of students will struggle with this skill. And we'll round throughout the year, not just here, but sometimes we'll round and then add or subtract, or we'll round and then multiply, or we'll round and then divide. So they'll see rounding throughout the year. One way we'll do it is through a number line. So, for example, we see this number, 37,892. And they're telling us to round to the nearest thousands place. So what they need to know is what 2 thousands is 37,892. What places would we go? And if they can look at just the thousands place and say, okay, I've got 7,000. If I'm going to round that, 7,000 is between which 2 thousands? So we would start with, it's between 7,000 and 8,000. So once again, we're going back to place value. We are looking at that thousands place. You can say it's 37,000 and 38,000. And then we're going up in increments of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they would need to see, okay, what are we counting by? So if this is 37,000, this would be 37,100, 37,200, 37,300, and so forth. So then they can look and say, okay, 37,800. I'm going to find where 37,800. So that'd be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. I'm going to put a dot. Right there is where 37,892 approximately would be. So then they can look and see, is that closer to 38,000 or 37,000? Okay, and they can see it is closer to 38,000. So let's look at the next one the same way. On this one it says round to the nearest hundreds place. So we can see how many hundreds are in this number. And if we can go back to that place value, we know that this is, you can say 3,400, or you can call this 3,400. So we're going to start down here with 3,400. Sorry, I know that's hard to read. And if you add another 100, it would be 3,500. Okay? So if we're rounding to the nearest 100, then it's going to be between 3,400 and 3,500. Well, we see this is 3,440. Once again, we're counting in intervals of 10. Okay? So to get from 400 to 500, we'd have to say 3,400, 3,410, 3,420, 30, 40. So right here would be 3,440. 440. So 3,442 is going to be close to this. So is this closer to 3,400 or 3,500? And it would be closer to 3,400. Okay, down here it says round to the nearest 10,000. Okay, so we can see we have 26 10,000s, or 260,000. So we'd start there. 260,000. If we added another 10,000, that would be 270,000. Okay, and we're going up in increments of 10. So it'd be 260,000, 261,000, 262,000, 263. So that would be 263,000. So that's going to be really close to where 263,450 is. So we can see, is this closer to 270,000 or 260,000? And it is closer to 260,000. So this really shows some gaps if students are struggling with their place value and really understanding just the number system. Because when you're saying this number's between which two, if they're struggling, being able to figure out that if you're looking at the 10,000s, we've got 26 10,000s, it's going to be between 260,000, 270,000. They're really struggling. If they struggle with this rounding, we normally notice that they're struggling with just the number system. And we might need to go back to those first couple of standards and make sure that they got those, very strong before we move on to being able to use the base 10 system and use our place value system in rounding numbers.